Okay, now before we get into this video, I need you to let me know down below in the comments which of these two cameras is which. One of them is about a $5,000 mirrorless camera, and the other is a $150 webcam. Can you tell which is which? Now, I'll let it out of the bag. This camera right here is the Lumix S1 II paired with a 28 to 70mm Sigma lens. It looks obviously incredible, and this camera is competing incredibly well considering it's a $150 webcam. It's the EMEET Pixy webcam. Now, this webcam is a dual camera webcam, meaning that it actually has two cameras. One is used for AI purposes so that it can track my face a whole lot better, as well as adjust exposure to make sure that my face is lit nicely at all times. And in this video, I want to do a deep dive and review this webcam and sort of push it to its limits and see what it is capable of. So here's a quick list of everything I want to talk about in this camera. Obviously, we need to talk about the tracking and the image quality, but there's one feature right at the end that I think you're going to have to stick around for that just completely changes the quality of this camera. Now, I do want to quickly say that EMEET did send me this camera, so thank you, EMEET, for sending me the webcam. But that being said, this review will be completely honest, and it is my honest thoughts about the camera, the quality, and the value that you're getting out of this webcam. But first, let's talk about the build and design. Now, if I'm being honest, I haven't really owned a nice webcam before. I've owned nice cameras, and I've owned crappy webcams, but this thing is built like a unit. It feels completely solid, and the mounting hardware that it comes with is incredible. So obviously, you get the webcam itself, the gimbal and the base feel incredible. You have a 1/4" thread right on the bottom, so you could mount it to literally any type of tripod. Right now, I actually have it mounted above my camera with a magic arm so that the perspective is as close as possible. But you also get the most robust monitor clamp that I think I've seen on the market, and it sits on your monitor really nice, but it doesn't overlap your bezel, so you don't actually lose any of your screen real estate. And it's got plenty of tilt options, so that's obviously a plus. So I want to briefly dive into the image quality of this camera, but I'm going to touch on it a little bit later in the video as well. Right now, I have my post color grading turned on, as well as some effects. So let's turn that off. This is the raw footage that's coming out of this camera. So right now I'm recording at 4K 30 frames per second. This camera can do 1080p 60 frames, 4K, can do 2K, can do 720p obviously as well. And it's actually got a Sony 1/2" sensor inside the webcam. And that's why you're getting a really good image right outside of the webcam. Now, the lighting is pretty good right now. I have my key light on, my backlights, so it's not struggling at all. But now I've turned off my key light and it's quite dark in my room. I do have some lighting behind me, as you can see, but it's pretty dark and you can sort of see how the noise reduction built inside of the camera is playing out. If I switch back to my Lumix here, you can see that the image is obviously way too dark. I'm way underexposed, looks by about 3 stops. But when it comes to the webcam, it's obviously boosting some of this exposure, and I think it actually still looks pretty good. Also, if you're already convinced to get the webcam, the link is down below in the description, as well as a 6% coupon code to get a little bit of a deal on the webcam. So there's a whole lot more to talk about when it comes to image quality, but I want to move on to autofocus and tracking. So when it comes to autofocus, the EMEET Pixy boasts a 0.2 seconds response time. So if I grab a product right here, you can obviously see that when I place it in front of the camera, the focus snaps automatically. Pull it off, it's right away on me again. Put it on, see that focus? It is smooth, it's not jittery. And as you can see, there's also no pulsing behind me. What you get usually with worse autofocus is you get the frame sort of half going in focus and half out. You get it with the older Lumix cameras actually. But with this camera, you don't get that at all. And again, like one of the most impressive things is this autofocus for a webcam. It's incredibly good and it's incredibly fast and responsive. Now, obviously this is a PTZ webcam, so it's got some incredible tracking and I need to show that off. And the way that you can turn that on is inside the software that you get with the webcam, but there's also gesture controls. So I can take my hand and I can just place it up right beside my head right here. And now the light is gonna blink blue on the webcam. So now that it's tracking, I could move wherever I want. And obviously the audio is not gonna sound very good because I'm gonna be backing away from the camera. But you can see that it's focusing on me anywhere I go inside of the frame. Obviously the lighting is gonna get worse. It's a bit of a mess back here, I'm sorry. But I gotta show off this camera. We got the key light right here. We're walking around, it's tracking me perfect. And if I go real fast, it's gonna snap on just like that. It's not gonna lose me. I'm assuming that the AI tracking camera, which is on there, is actually a little bit wider than the field of view that you see here, because I can go completely out of frame and it still locks on quite nicely. Now, I hope that shows you how good the tracking is on this camera. I can also walk behind light stands and whatnot, and it'll still pick me up. But if I do want to turn off the tracking, I can just again put my hand up with a palm, just like so. Now the tracking is turned off. And on the software itself, I can put it back to its initial resting position. And now it's framed just how I had it at the start of the video. All right, so when you purchase this camera, you also get EMEET Studio, which is their software to control the camera, and it's quite robust. And as you can see right here, I'm recording myself. I'm actually gonna stop the recording just because it limits some of the features that I can adjust within the camera. On the left side right here, we have 3 modes. So we have standard mode, which is what I'm on right now. You also have tracking mode. So that's the same as doing the gesture control. It just turns on tracking. So if I move my head around right now, it is tracking. We can go back to standard mode, and just like I said before, if I click initial position, now it's gonna frame up my initial position when I started up the PTZ. If I turn it over to the side, I can again hit initial, and it's going to frame up really, really nicely. Now I can actually set up 3 positions. I can also zoom in if I'd like to. So if I set up another position, maybe I wanted an angle, I don't know, of that, for example, save that to position 2. If I go to the initial position, we'll lock on right there. I can go to position 2. Again, the framing is going to be the exact same. Now, down here, we have a bunch of different frame rate and video codec settings. So obviously I'm on 4K 30 frames per second. You can also do 1080p or you can do 720p. You can rotate the frame if you're doing vertical content or vertical live streams of any kind. Obviously we can flip the image. But 2 features that I want to talk about right here is the desktop view, which is something that's going to be useful for me. So I do some DaVinci Resolve coaching on the side. If you haven't checked that out, you can find it on my PayHip store, link down below in the description. But when I do that, it's handy for me to be able to show my keyboard, to show that what I'm doing. And if I press this keyboard button right here, it's gonna look down at my keyboard. It's gonna frame it up nicely. It's also gonna change the aspect of my video so that my keyboard looks a little bit more flat rather than angled. It just gives a clear view of the keyboard. And then as well, I don't really use a whiteboard, but if I did with inside of my coaching, I could do this whiteboard option and it'll automatically detect where the whiteboard is inside of my frame and then crop to that. And then I can use that to do all my whiteboard activities that I need to do. Now, additionally, you can throw on some filters, although I'm not gonna get into that right now, and you can do some audio mixing if you're doing the actual recording inside of the software. Obviously, you can hook this camera up to OBS or any type of external recorder as you'd like, but if you're doing it inside of here, you can do some audio mixing. And when it comes to audio, the webcam does come with 3 mics located at the top of the webcam. This is so that no matter where you are in the room, it can capture clear audio. Now, in my personal opinion, the audio is clear. There's no denying that. But does the audio sound good? I don't think it sounds incredible, especially not when you compare it to the actual video quality of the webcam. But that's okay. For clear audio, you can do Zoom calls, you can do coaching calls, you can do everything like that. And the other person is going to understand you very, very clearly. And another feature inside of EMEET Studio is the script generation. And inside of this, you actually have access to Gemini and a bunch of the other major AI platforms. And you can create your scripts. It's gonna create a shot list and your scripts, and it's actually quite robust. All right, and now comes the feature that probably sets this webcam apart the most, and that is the effect tab right here. So currently I'm on the custom mode and I've not changed anything. So for the rest of this video, I had the custom mode turned on and I did change some settings that I just think makes the camera look a whole lot better. So let's start with the sort of elephant in the room, and that is the over sharpening that you can see right now. And to some people, maybe that looks good, but to a videographer, that doesn't look too great. So I'm gonna take that sharpening and turn it way down. And now we have a natural looking image, an image that could actually come out of a Sony camera. Now the saturation is also a little bit high because I want to adjust that inside of DaVinci Resolve. So I'm gonna turn it down just a little bit, something like so. And then the tone as well, you can see that my skin tone looks a little bit yellow in my opinion. So I'm gonna turn that a little bit to the left, and that's just gonna bring a little bit more red into my skin tone, something like so. And we can always change this in post-processing if you're doing post-processing. I like the way that this looks. Let's also turn the contrast down a little bit, something like so. And honestly, this sort of looks like it's a log image coming out of an actual camera. When I'm looking at my preview, obviously it looks a little bit different when I actually open DaVinci Resolve. So now we've got a really, really good image to work with. Now, if you're not doing any post-processing, you can increase the saturation and you actually have a video image that you could use for a live stream or whatnot. But in my case, if I'm bringing it into DaVinci Resolve anyways, I can leave it right here and I can actually get a really, really good image. All right, and the last tab that we quickly got to get into when it comes to the software is just the assistance tab. So we have focus metering. We can put it on a selected area anywhere on the screen. You can see that this blue box is highlighting where the autofocus is tracking. We can put it on center, which now just the center of the frame is autofocusing, and the face area, which is just this entire area, but it's going to prioritize face tracking. You can also adjust the autofocus so that the focus is set to a manual focus. I can find the focus right here, and now it's set to manual focus. It's not gonna go in and out at all, but the autofocus is so good that I would always leave it on anyways. Now there's also privacy mode, so if we stop recording here and turn it on for 10 seconds, then the webcam is actually gonna tilt down and completely go into privacy mode, making sure that it's not seeing anything inside of the room. All right, so quickly, who is this camera actually for? Who is this webcam actually for? Now, this webcam could be used for a variety of scenarios, but I would say that anyone that's doing some type of live streaming or content creation, if you're an educator, if you're doing life coaching or any type of coaching online, this webcam is for you. Now, why do I say that? Obviously, the image quality is good. It's convenient. It works with every type of software. It's also one of the only webcams, I think actually the only webcam that works directly with the Nintendo Switch. So if you are a Nintendo Switch gamer, this webcam is compatible with that. But yeah, this webcam for me, I'm using it for all of my coaching, as well as if I did any live streaming when it comes to DaVinci Resolve training tutorials and whatnot. I would be using the webcam just because it is so incredibly good, but also it's so easy and fast to set up and use every single time. So again, educators, live streamers, content creators, there's a lot of different use cases for this webcam. All right, there you have it. Now you know exactly what the EMEET Pixy is all about. Is it a camera that impresses you? Is it something that you're gonna get? Again, if you're using it for any of the use cases that I mentioned earlier, I think this would be a great webcam for you. As well, down below in the description is a link to get the webcam, as well as a 6% off coupon so that you can get yourself a little bit of a deal. Thank you again to EMEET for sending me this camera. It's been a pleasure to review. It's been a pleasure to use, and I can't wait to continue supporting these products. And I love supporting actually good products. So thank you guys for checking out this video. I'll see you guys next time.